Namaste.
Press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update.
Namaste and welcome to this episode of Jaipur Dialogues with our resident expert on all things American. So we welcome Vibhuti ji. How are you, Vibhuti ji?
I'm very well, sir. Very well.
Is-
Thank you
is
for
that-
calling me the resident expert, and happy to be acknowledging that.
And the Jaipur Dialogues people are rather looking forward to your analysis on American elections. A lot of things have happened over the last 2-3 days. Donald Trump claims that he has come out so much stronger. He's never felt stronger in his life. If that's the way, I think everybody would be wishing that they get corona and then they feel stronger than ever. So he's giving a good advertisement to corona. I don't know how people are feeling about it. Then that's one, and the second, of course, is the this New York Post story about this Hunter Biden character, son of Joe Biden, and his involvement in the Ukrainian thing, for which poor Trump got impeached.
Correct.
That's so hilarious.
That's
And
true.
the third is that, contrary to what you've been asserting, the surveys showing 72% Desis voting for Joe Biden rather than for Trump. Yes, so let's start with what are the latest ratings?
Okay, so let's start with the last item, which is what you talked about. That Desi numbers would be more in favor of Trump, or it will not be what I had said, that 80% of the Indians vote Democrats.
Right.
What I'm saying is that there will be a significant chipping in of the Indian votes going to Trump. Now remember one thing, कि 2016 में Trump won without Indian votes, if you frankly look at it
I
that
think
way.
12% or so went to him.
78-80 हो गया, 80-78 हो गया, 2% से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है उसमें. लेकिन इस बार
No, I think 12% went to him. So 88% went to Democrats, I think.
that's what I'm saying. 88% went to Democrats. I'm using the number 80 as a benchmark number. So 88% Trump को Democrats को गया, तो Trump won without Indian votes. I was one of the rare deplorables to be at his opening at the inaugural ball in DC. I was one of the rare Indians to be there. But a point which I'm trying to make is that this time there will be chipping away. The factors which have brought Indians together in this particular instance, in this particular 2020, is is tremendous amount of anger Indians have. The stand which the Biden Democratic Party, Kamala Harris, has taken against India for the actions which were enacted by Indian Parliament with overwhelming majority to solve a problem which was bothering India for last as many years, Kashmir, Ladakh, and Jammu, including the articles of CAA and others, which was specifically designed. Only a buffoon and an idiot will not see that the CAA was meant to protect the minorities in Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. So at the behest of a specific group of people, these democratic-run states and municipalities, I would say Kadapa municipality should pass a resolution against black exploitation and Black Lives Matter here in the US. It is something like that, but it became a national story.
I think that's quite doable. We should attempt that in some of the municipalities.
This takes me back also to a personal story when in 1991 April, when I came here, the first article in New York Times that I saw was an article by John Burns, who had done a 3-column article, 5-column article on a man from Rajasthan who was 78 years of age, had 37 wives and 90 grandchildren. And I said, is this the only story worth reporting from India?
He could have found it in America itself.
Exactly. That's exactly what I said. If we begin to write about the crimes in Manhattan, at that time, Manhattan was a den of thieves and crooks and everything evil. And if I tell you about the Mormon story, but their argument was, this is what the readers want to read. I said, you are forcing the readers to read that. Now, coming back to this topic here, is that Indians are definitely unhappy with the Democratic Party stand, because the entire anti-India narrative has definitely swung. So today's vote, people are saying that Kamala Harris has rejuvenated the Indians to vote. There is nothing to rejuvenate. It's like they were already 88%. Kya hoga, 90? Is that what your claim is? But you are already falling to 72. Think about it.
Exactly, exactly. In fact,
Majority is a concept. It is 51% also is a majority.
I looked at those figures and I actually laughed. I
Yeah.
said that 88% to 72%, and
Yeah.
they're saying that the Desis are with the Democrats.
Correct.
Desis, anyway, most of the Desis live in California and New York.
Right.
And there they know that these are heavily Democratic states, so they just swim with the current.
Right.
Desis will matter only in the borderline states, in the swing states.
Correct.
And most of the swing away that has probably happened in the borderline states.
Correct.
Even if we take this 72% to be correct, which I have a hunch that it's much less than 72. What do you say?
It is a matter of concern for them. And there is something very interesting you pointed out, that there is a new concept in Indian Democrats right now. They attack Indians who are supporting Trump. I was attacked because I'm supporting Trump. A friend of mine called me from Florida, who is a very good businessman, done well. He says 80% of my Hindu friends, Indian friends, are not talking to me because I'm supporting Trump. And he said, why this kind of a hatred? I said, that is because they believe in killing the messenger, so that messenger doesn't go forward with the message. And that is the sad part. I mean, if I disagree with you, doesn't mean that I don't like you, right? These two are totally non-related elements. So
yes. People can differ within a family.
we are attacking the messenger. And this has been a systematic trend, because the Democratic Party knows that they are losing votes and they want to consolidate. They are worried. And I'm telling you one thing, mark my words, regardless of the outcome, and which we feel that there is a growing confidence that Trump will come back, on reasons of that nobody wants a violent society. Nobody wants this promise of things free. That people come here to not remain poor. People come here to work hard and make their money. And that's what Republican Party agenda is. Democrats have no economic policy. They have economic agenda. Because economic policy of Republicans is work hard, play more, do well, fulfill your American dream. The Democratic Party's agenda is come one, come all, take things for free. They create dependency on the state. Here is the grants and benefits that I will give you for free, just vote for me. And
exactly.
They play upon the nuance of the American mind. Who wants to work? If given a choice, agar aapko koi keh de कि मैं आपको हर एक महीने हर एक दिन 2000 रुपए दूंगा, आप कुछ मत करो, तो शायद लोगों की इच्छा होगी कि ठीक है यार, मिल रहा है तो मिलने दो. But that doesn't fulfill your potential. You could be earning 10,000 a day, right?
Oh, yes. It is just another variation of the Venezuelan socialism.
Exactly. That's what the whole thing is. But even bigger, interesting part is that I have a feeling that even blacks votes will chip away, and even Latino votes will chip away. So if you look at it this way, if the Democratic Party loses 20% of Indians' traditional vote, 20%, in battleground states will matter. If blacks were supporting 90%, if 70% blacks go Democrat and 20% come to Republican, and similarly 20% Latinos come or Asians come, because one thing is playing a big role. Nobody is happy with the way Democratic Party is conducting itself. Look at yesterday. That was a rather shocking eye-opener. That, the economic stimulus bill is pending. Right. Democrats want to include millions of things. Republican Party is proposing something. The bill is stalled. And now it's not happening before November 3rd. So on CNN, which is not a pro-Trump media, on CNN, a celebrated correspondent reporter called Wolf Blitzer, whom I have seen from ever since I have seen him on the TV, he asked Pelosi a question. Madam, what are you holding the stimulus bill for being passed? People are standing in the line for food. and money, and you are standing on political matters, why this is not happening? You know what was Pelosi's rant? It is, I'm totally disappointed you are supporting the administration. And she began to rant against Wolf Blitzer for even asking that question. Eventually, Wolf Blitzer had to say, ma'am, we will have to have more conversation on this. And he stood his ground. So when you're the CNN that is supporting you inside out, if you begin to doubt that correspondent, you seem to be in trouble.
That is one. So that is the part that the ratings part of. Where are the ratings? Last time we discussed it was 7%, Biden up by 7%.
अब वो देखिए वो है कि बाइडन के पास अभी all told there is a Trump is also gathering momentum, but there is a very interesting data that is not factored into the polling. Because of all the companies, it's the Gallup that reported that 56% of the Americans have said that they are better off today than they were before. This was the classic Ronald Reagan question, are you better off today than 4 years ago? That has continuously figured into the conversation. And 56% of the Americans have said, and that is Gallup reporting, not me, a partisan some people can accuse me of. Gallup reporting that 56% of the Americans feel they were better off. And post-coronavirus, this situation has changed. So people are not blaming Trump for coronavirus. We can, on a hindsight, 2020, it's always easy to be wise after the event. I could have done this, you could have done that. But nobody is blaming Trump. And everybody knows that until coronavirus brought the lockdown, Wuhan virus, as Trump prefers to call it, because it originated in China. So regardless of how politically incorrect it may be, but it is China virus, just as Spanish flu was a Spanish flu. So the question here is that people have recognized that Trump did bring about an economic change, and that we were doing great. Highest Black employment, highest Latino employment, highest Asian employment, and increasing incomes. That was also very important. Everything came to a halt. Now, the second factor is coronavirus. It is remarkably important that Trump got hit. I was at that event, Bedminster Golf Club. I told you, I'm happy to inform you that I tested for corona and I'm negative. For once, a negative is a positive news, so I'm happy to share that with you and your audience. So the question here is that Trump came back revitalized, and he had all interesting cocktails that were served to him, drugs that were never tried. So he virtually became a guinea pig for testing of items, and from his body language, you can see he seems surcharged. And in his one of his TV broadcasts, he made a statement that whatever I got, everybody will be ready to get that. Now that is inspiring than hunkering down in your basement, which unfortunately that's Biden's strategy.
Okay, that's what he's doing. And what about this gaffe by Twitter and Facebook with trying to dumb down on the Hunter Biden report that New York Post carried?
It is like East India Company trying to become a kingdom in India. So the Twitter, and this has gone down very badly. People are using these forums to express themselves. And if the newspaper report, where is the freedom of speech now? You begin censorship. That's what Trump is talking about. You are looking at the big media indulging in a role of censorship. And that people are not liking it. I follow Trump. I follow several other people. I follow you, and on the Twitter. But many a times, not all messages land in my Twitter handle.
I know. I know my follower count has been suppressed.
Correct. So these kind of things, when they are beginning to manipulate, then you know that things are not okay. It has received a very negative impression of Facebook, Twitter, and Twitter. John apologized for the mistake. He said so on his tweet that I realized it was a mistake. It was not right for that to happen. Right.
So what have they done? Have they lifted that censorship?
I do not know whether they have lifted it or not. In terms of news, one can get the news faster than we are talking here. So we will await. I think if Twitter accepted it as a mistake, it has gone into print again. I have seen some of the tweets coming out like that.
Okay, so let me request you, because a lot of our viewers are not aware of this Hunter Biden thing. So can you just explain it to them what this Hunter Biden report carried by the New York Post is all about?
Okay, Hunter Biden is the second son of Mr. Joe Biden. Joe Biden's elder son was in the armed forces, and he lost his life there, and he served the country very well. Hunter Biden, there's a country called Ukraine. When the Russia crisis in Ukraine was at a big time, so President Obama appointed Vice President Biden to negotiate things happening there. And in the process, as it happens, it was a case of an abuse of office. Hunter Biden began to negotiate deals for himself. And there is a company called Burisma, which is an oil company. And Burisma appointed Hunter Biden on the board of the company, was paying him $50,000 a month. That was the remuneration, yes. And Hunter Biden has no education or technological capability to qualify to be as an employee of that company, leave aside the board. Well, but the board is a different matter. You and I know that. So, so in the process, he has also done a lot of deals with China, where millions or billions of dollars were given to him to facilitate a few things to happen. So Biden said that I have nothing to do with that. And in one of the forums, Biden, and it's on record, in one of the forums, Biden had on the press conference said, using the word SOB to say that I told that SOB to fire the attorney general, then only you will get your $1 billion. And so he was using his style to pressurize Ukraine to American point of view, Obama administration point of view. And Hunter Biden is accused of making a fortune out there, including the fact that the mayor of Ukraine's wife, the wife of mayor of Ukraine's city or whatever, sent wire transfer of hundreds of thousands of dollars to his account. So, we live in a technology world where things you can do, but you can't hide anymore. So the money transferred from various places have been put in his account. And Biden has denied it. It has now emerged. The truth, we will know only after investigation. So no casting aspersion. But if Trump could be accused of Russian dossier, there is a wire transfer and a salary of $50,000 compensation paid for every month. Now that definitely raises an eyebrow. That $50,000 for doing what exactly? So yeah, so that has raised the concern of people, and it's a valid concern.
Absolutely. And that Hunter Biden thing, I think, would definitely help Donald Trump in the next debate, which is now, I think, scheduled on 22nd.
Yeah. So this is called the American elections has a concept called October surprise. So the October surprise was when this gentleman, Joe Biden, had mentioned Inshallah in his previous debate. Then President Trump got coronavirus. We did not know what was going to happen there. People blamed him. And now you have this as another surprise, October surprise, that Hunter Biden thing has kicked up. And in this October, you're also having a remarkable Supreme Court nomination hearings, which has entered the fourth day today, and which Justice Amy Barrett has done very well to defend herself. And, people should watch these events because they are remarkably educational in how obfuscation, how attacks are launched in the name of probity and in the name of, gentlemanly thing. So you take all those things. This will be a turning point in American history, making America great again, so to say, because for the first time, the Supreme Court nomination would be 6-3 Republicans in favor of Republicans.
6-3 Republicans, and the whole lot of mail-in voting fraud going on.
Yes.
At the same time, the Supreme Court getting strengthened by more Republican representation. So I think, does that nullify the effect of the mail-in voting?
One doesn't know that. But what we do know as of now is that if the case goes to the court, if the case has to go like it happened in the Bush and Gore time, the Supreme Court had to take a decision on the, hanging Chad, as it was known in Florida. This particular thing will have an impact. I have said so. I've said this on your program today, last time, that if India can provide 600 million plus voters with a voter ID, come on, don't tell me that America can't provide 200 million people or 150 million voters in this country. After all, the total population is 300 million people, 350 million people in the country. It can't be difficult. You can't enter a building without having a photo ID. Why can't you have an ID of some kind? You don't need a driver's license. You all have to do is to go to a DMV, Department of Motor Vehicle, and tell them, give me a non-driver's license and identity. So if you do not have that identity, how can you, even credit card payments, sometimes people ask you for your ID.
Right.
So the question is, how can this country talk about voter suppression where it should be voter expression? I want to vote. It's a national holiday. Go and vote. So mail-in vote is a cover. And I think one of the things was that, it has been talked about openly that on November 3rd, the counting will go in favor of Mr. Trump.
Okay.
And after asserting the gap, the mail-in votes will be counted. So you know what I'm talking about. You have
if I understand the legal process in India,
yeah.
If that were the situation in India, then somebody would have gone to the Supreme Court and got a stay order on the mail-in votes and got a decision in their favor saying that mail-in votes are not valid and would happily become the president.
Right. That something of that kind will happen eventually. After you have to produce evidence, right, and proof that if thousands of votes are lying in a different mailbox, if thousands of mail-in votes are lying elsewhere, and there are forged mail-in ballots, that's a case enough to say, sorry, mail-in votes not counted. Right?
Yes. So that's what I think President Trump has been hinting at.
Yes.
If I could read between the lines.
Obviously, why not? The question is not why, but why not? If you see a fraudulent intent, साहब 100 रुपए के घूस लेने में लोगों की नौकरी चली जाती है, करेक्ट? यहाँ पे आप बात कर रहे हैं कि लाखों के वोट उलट पुलट हो जाएं. And I have maintained this, and I maintain that stand all along, that if currency notes, dollars included, pound sterling included, rupees included, can be forged notes can be circulating in the economies. What is a ballot paper? There is no security lining in there.
And what is the extent of the percentage of total votes, the mail-in votes as percentage of the total votes?
They are talking about approximately, 10 million absentee ballots people ask for in advance. And they are looking at this time about 40 million mail-in voting. 12 million people have already voted mail-in or early voting. They have a system of early voting here. I can go and vote on 27th October in my constituency, in my location. Early voting opens on 27th of October. So many people have voted early voting. In New Jersey, people have voted early voting. So those things, can happen. But estimate is more than 40 million mail-in votings. And that's why the fraud element goes big. The concern about fraud become big. That's
nearly 15 to 20% of the total votes.
You are right. And that's why the concern.
This is a hopeless system.
It is. As the saying goes, the smartest of people make dumbest of mistakes, right?
So this is and for the national election, there should be a national body. That's what we discussed last time.
Yeah. And you have United States has what is called the debate commission, and they should have an election commission. I'm totally with you on that. There has to be a body that sets down the rules and regulations for election. It's a national election. It's not a state election. You can set the standards for your state. That's a different matter. But for presidential election, there has to be a different authority that manages that. You have to know how to regulate that matter. Identity is one such thing.
Quite right, because right now you are having everything from the local precinct election to the presidential election
Yes,
on the same ballot paper.
correct, on the same ballot paper. Yeah, we vote and we put it in the machine, it gets counted for. So that's very interesting. But there is another very important part, which is what I feel is this system, this election system, is sometimes I feel has set up a remarkably high standards for qualification of public office. And, unlike many other democracies where you do not know who is fighting the election. In the American election, the standard is set in this manner that private life, you can do what you want. But in public life, I call it, you have to be holier than the Pope. That is, if Pope is holy. You have to be more virgin than Virgin Mary. And you have to be like Jesus Christ, be prepared to be crucified. You have to be squeaky clean. ये दूध से भी ज़्यादा धुले होने चाहिए आपको. तो वो in an imperfect system, and where people themselves are imperfect, there is nobody's perfect. So you begin to play around with perfections and you try to become holier than everything else. And that is what brings in the concept or the arguments that begin to make realistic expectations from politicians. And that's why one of the things which is hurt here. So if you made it to public office, you commanded a trust and respect. Now, what has happened is that the dirtiness and the murkiness of the politics here, the trust element in America is suffering big time. This American society, I have worked with American companies, the word mattered. What Sanjay Dikshit ji says, I trust implicitly. And trust breeded performance. Remember, we do a very significant work on how to install trust in workplace. Trust in workplace is all about performance. Trust in family is different concept. So America operated on the word trust remarkably well. And I'm a witness to that. And I'm a beneficiary of that. I'm a practitioner of that. कि जो कहा वो किया. In our context, if you do, what we say in our scenario is that if you do not know how to say no, your yes has no meaning.
Quite right.
So you have to know that yes and no are the two sides of the same coin. So if you can't do something, say you can't do it. Don't लटकाइए मत लोगों को. हमारे यहाँ तहजीब में और कल्चर के हिसाब से हम ना नहीं बोलेंगे. It will upset somebody, but in the process, you become liar. America is built on the element of trust. John said so, Sanjay said so, Vibhuti said so. That's why he must be good. Otherwise, I was hired by American Express because my friend referred me to, and I was looked up. And when I was hired, I was told by the manager that you saved me looking at. Of course, you have to prove that you are worthy of the job. Of course, it doesn't mean that, but you have to prove yourself. So when I was selected, I was told, you saved me the hassle of looking at 1,000 applications. There may be somebody better there, but I proved myself because X recommended me. That's the power of referral. That's the power of trust. That trust has missed out in America today. Nobody trusts anybody. And there's an element of mistrust because the quality of politicians brings about the element of trust. So when people live in their own world of Arthasatya, you have to filter that. And today what we are seeing in America is that is hurting the system very badly. So imagine that even for coronavirus vaccine, Trump, Pelosi, and Kamala Harris said that if Trump says so, we will not take it. Science will do that. But my question is, come on, when was the decision, when a leader's job is to take a decision, science also has opposing points of view, whether it's climate change or doctor's second opinion or third opinion. Even there, you have to take the opinions of the scientific community, right? You don't send the rocket because X said you do send it like this. It has to be vetted, proved, and done properly. But the decision making is key. And when you begin to mistrust the decision, then you impact the process. तो आज की तारीख में अमेरिका में रात के 2 बजे हों या 12 बजे हों या सुबह के 4 बजे हों, स्टॉप साइन पे सब रुकता है, सब लोग
Correct.
रुकते हैं उस वक्त में, क्योंकि
Correct.
सिस्टम पे भरोसा है. System works. Today, what we are seeing is they are trying to annihilate the system or abuse it. And that's what people are not liking. America, nobody loves violence. America, everybody loves a fight back. The reason why Trump is being admired, a lot of people don't get it. They think that Americans are crazy and deplorables who support Trump. But America loves a fighting attitude because everybody here fought to be here. Everybody here fought to survive. And everybody uses the word, I got to do it, and I got to do translates into I got to fight for myself. What has happened remarkably well in this particular election also, Trump has stood up against the chicanery of Democratic Party. You know, Democratic Party bamboozled Mitt Romney to lose. Mitt Romney was hassled because he said, I have a register of ladies for positions that I want to fill. That register became, the use of the word register became an attack as if he was keeping a register of call girls. That was the insinuation caused. Register, oh, Romney maintains a register. You know, that kind of a thing, the Democrats go all the way, attacking. Republicans fight shy. And they say, okay, theek hai, hum decent ho jate hain. But Romney has the gall to criticize Trump for his foul words, but he has no words to comment upon the Democrats who have been wishing to blow up the White House and impeach him under false categories. And the Representative Tlaib said, impeach the MF. She used the same word. But the media and all, nobody said anything about it. Right?
It is a heavily compromised system right now. The leftists are everywhere, even in America.
The Democratic Party, which is what people are liking. Let's fight for it.
That's good. Thank you for this excellent update.
Thank you.
And I think with only about 18 days to go, we'll probably have to meet more often as things happen.
Yeah.
And
I would like to comment one thing about the media talking about Kamala Harris, that Indians are very enthused. Actually, Indians are very disappointed. Let me tell you that. And it's not me saying that, because the scores of Indians are saying, "Yaar, wo to desi hai nahi. वो देसीपन अपना कभी मानती है नहीं." So at this time, at the election time, to catch the vote or to play the vote bank politics, if you're suddenly espousing that fact, then it is not right. Because even her father, she doesn't acknowledge her father. And her father said to her that don't bring make the Caribbeans look bad, when she said in one of the TV interviews, "Oh, I'm a Caribbean. I took a pot shot." Pot kiya tha. So her father replied to that, don't paint everybody in such a bad light. Yesterday, something very interesting happened in the Supreme Court hearing. And that's a telling statement about the way Democratic Party conducts itself. The senator from Hawaii, she asked a fellow lady who is going to be the judge of Supreme Court, have you ever sought sexual favors to do anything for yourself? Now, in all fairness to the senator from Hawaii, she apparently asked this question of everybody. That is her takiya kalam. Wo sabse puchti hai. But when you ask that question of a fellow woman, you had to remember one thing, that Kamala Harris is notorious for finding her way up. And one of the most celebrated stories during the newspaper rounds is the former mayor of San Francisco, Willie Brown, who has said that he had a solid affair with her and he was responsible for pushing her career forward. So I do not complain about her achievements. I'm talking about the fact that when your own colleague who is a presidential candidate, vice presidential nominee, and who is a breath away from presidency, has indulged in sexual favors, that is the allegation, which Mr. Brown himself has said. It was not anything else. would you subject, if I ask the same question of Mrs. Harris, how would you like it? So there is a disappointment amongst Indians. यार उसने तो क्या क्या नहीं किया अपनी बढ़ोतरी के लिए, अब ये सवाल यहाँ पूछते हैं. These are the language styles of the Democratic Party hitting at the messenger. I'm a messenger. I'm a registered independent. But at some point in time, when you take a decision based on certain facts. For me, the facts are, as they are shaping up to be, that at 78 years of age, Biden is weak. It is obvious you have a lot of knowledge, you have a lot of wisdom, you have a lot of experience. But when it comes to doing it, perhaps you can't do things as you did when you were 30, 40, or 50.
Certainly, there's a lot of fun involved in it. Let's come to the end of this discussion because there are a lot of questions waiting.
Sure.
And let's go to the questions right away.
Mm-hmm.
Press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update.
Okay, Shweta is asking the first question. Why American Indians are fascinated with Democrats?
I don't think it is fascination. It is just the carry forward of the Indian mentality. जब इंडिया में हम कांग्रेस पार्टी के साथ थे, they were the government in control. Government took care of everything. So we came here, and they automatically their pro-immigration stand that हम सबके लिए सब कुछ करेंगे, paying lip service to everything else. They got registered as Democrats. There is another important element here that कांग्रेस पार्टी की हिस्ट्री देखेंगे तो जवाहरलाल नेहरू, इंदिरा गांधी, राजीव गांधी, ये सब थे कांग्रेस पार्टी के चार्मिंग पीपल, फैमिली क्लैन. सो उनकी अपनी पर्सनालिटी थी. तो उसमें क्या हुआ कि यहाँ आए और डेमोक्रेटिक पार्टी इज अ नाइस पार्टी, एंड डेमोक्रेटिक पार्टी हैड एन आउटरीच प्रोग्राम to enroll. Republican Party did not have that minority enrollment programs. And so Indians ended up being Democrats, though essentially in values, we are closer to Republicans than Democrats.
Quite right. Okay, next one. Reali, Shravan Kumar, why social media is scrutinized in America?
In America, nobody is above the law. So social media also needs scrutiny because you have the amazing ability to impact and influence. And that is what is the reason why everything is under investigation. Everything has to be looked at. As the famous saying goes, trust but verify.
Yeah, quite right. And your thoughts, Anu Lakshman, your thoughts on Amy Coney Barrett's nomination?
I'm not clear what exactly do you want to know, whether you want me to comment upon her capability or the process, or are you asking me about why the Republicans are rushing through?
I think what is being asked is, number one, whether the nomination will go through before the elections. I think that is the major concern. And second one, of course, the related question, whether the nomination is correct.
There is enough instances in the history of America that president nominates a judge, Senate approves. More than 19 or 20 times, when the Republican, if the party that controls Senate and the party that holds the presidency, it has happened. It has happened. The qualification is not in doubt because they're highly qualified people. You make a short list and do that. But timing is of essence. And fortunately for Republican Party and for Judge Amy Barrett is the fact that Justice Ginsburg died giving enough time to go through the process. So procedural delay or whatever, Republicans and president are well within their legal jurisdiction to appoint a nominee. There is nothing wrong in it. If Democrats are talking about morality, that you don't, hey, king is dead, long live the king. So how can you not fill up a position which has been filled up, which needs to be filled up? You can't have a Supreme Court with 4 and 4 division there.
Right. Okay, next one. Nina Shirsagar, sir, what will be the margin of victory if Trump wins on 3rd, 3rd of November, that is? Will it be bigger than Hillary?
Ninadji, if I knew that answer to the question, I will win $1 million in the betting. But one of the things which I definitely believe, that there is a tremendous enthusiasm. Remember a very interesting Modi factor in 2019. Nobody thought Modi will win 300 plus seats, but there was an educated guess about it that he could easily cross with the help of the NDA partners. But the party alone will cross 300, nobody had known. So the issues that are affecting the Americans, which are very important, is that who inspires confidence? Who is the fighter? Who will fight for you? Do you want violence in your society? The Democrats have already proposed a almost 10% across the board hike in various taxes, corporate, personal, all the taxes that are there in the place. Who wants to pay higher taxes? People want to contribute, but not disproportionately. And that too, you talk about infrastructure, but you are actually funding your so many programs, social programs. That is the risk. So people 90% of the economy is in the private sector. And I think nobody in private sector wants to pay tax. If Warren Buffett says that I'm willing to pay higher taxes, people said, hey, go and donate. Why are you trapping me into the tax net? You go and donate because you believe it.
Quite right. Okay, Anulaksha again. Do you think Tulsi Gabbard would have been a better VP candidate than Kamala Harris?
In my personal opinion, I think Tulsi Gabbard stands up better as a personality, as a character, as a person of accomplishment, as a soldier who has fought the war. I'm not here to sit on judgment. Only history will tell. But Tulsi Gabbard has built a reputation. The only reason that she was shot down, because she was genuinely middle of the path in her party.
Okay, right. Bharatveet Prakash, why are Indian Americans not able to project their strength like Muslim Americans? See how Biden was enticing them with Inshallah.
That is the fundamental question, and that speaks volumes of us Indians that we need to talk about. We Indians are not united. That's our cause of fall. So I have also said before that Indians enjoy a very favorable impression and status in American society. We are respected, hell of a lot, to use the American slang. Only problem is that we do not know how to ask for things. Muslims are united in the name of Sharia, in the name of Allah, they unite. And they know they have one cause. We have no cause. And that's the reason why we are not united. So we are taken for granted. For once, Indian votes will matter. And because significant chunk is moving towards Trump, that is happening.
Right. How do you rate Trump chances?
Well, it is a toss-up. Still 18 days left. As in politics, 7 days, 7 hours, 7 seconds matter. So as things are progressing, there was a time when Biden gained a lot of momentum. Now is the time where Trump is gaining momentum. And his combativeness, his desire to fight. He says, no, I'm not going to lock down. You know how coronavirus has spiked in Europe. So the things like that, people realize. I mean, of all the people, Dr. Fauci himself in March has made a statement. The masks are not going to help. Trump talked about mandating masks. They found the data that 40% of the cases of coronavirus were people who had worn masks. So there is a tremendous amount of fluid information floating. Even experts are wrong. Even scientists went wrong. So the question here is, Trump is taking the bold stand. Let's fight the damn thing. And he will succeed. People will respond to that.
Just supplementary. What are the latest ratings? What are the average gap?
Gap has been narrowing now because there was there's one particular factor I mentioned to you right in the start, that 56% people believe that they were better off. In many states, battleground states, the gap is tightening. I mean, it's all over the media. You can look it up. So for me, the percentage is not important because there is still 18 days to go. And polls can be very, very surprising. We know that. So it is the gap today, or gap is everything is a function of one word said here, one word said there. So if you are not doing a naptol every second, you will go nuts. So, sometimes you have to take the broader perspective on that.
Okay, is there a chance of California for Trump?
See, New York and California will take quite some years to become red. But don't forget, California gave...
I would make bold and say if California for Trump, then Trump will win all 50 states.
Oh, yes, you're right. Or New York for that matter, But I'll tell you something very interesting. There have been growing support for Trump even in states like New York. And I'll tell you a shocking thing which went totally unreported. I was driving on Long Island Expressway highway, and I was way down in Southampton area, and I was driving further home. So from exit 69 to exit 54, which is several miles of distances, I found that trucks, heavy vehicles, SUVs, cars running in one single lane with Trump flag going all over Long Island. And by the way, New York is a blue state. Think about it from that point of view. So there have been yard signs of Trump in California, which is a very bold act of those voters because they are hounded out, they are attacked. So I won't say it will go Trump. What might happen is the Biden victory may not have the same margin. So perception of popular vote in America is that. So I think it will not go Trump, but you will have different voting numbers this time.
Okay. Veer Lama, why major media houses are anti-Trump, like they're anti-Modi here in India?
Same reasons like they are against Modi. How many people said that Modi wins, we will leave the country, but nobody left, right? So, so likewise, Trump is a complete maverick when it comes to the position that he's taken. Now, what has happened is that he is fighting. The media, there's something which I have said earlier on that, look, Hillary Clinton's victory was supposed to herald a left America, which President Obama had said that I want to change America fundamentally. And that fundamental change would have happened had Hillary won. Since Hillary lost, the liberal dream, liberal left-wing dream of a left socialist kind of a society or toning down American capitalism went on a freeze. It got upended. It got derailed. They really saw that now Hillary would have appointed 3 more Supreme Court judges. It would have been 7-2 in favor of Democratic. Now it is 6-3 favor of Trump. So now you can be assured the Republicans and conservatives are happy the Supreme Court is not going anywhere, right? Likewise, so many liberal dreams are falling apart. And that has happened in 3 prominent democracies of the world. UK with Boris Johnson, Narendra Modi ji in India, and Trump here. So if Trump wins, you are looking at UK, India, and US, next election 2024, right? So these 3 prominent democracies are totally right of center, with right of center of driven by self-respect, self-saman, and all that kind of stuff. So you are looking at from that point of view that media, which is all left. So, in one of the programs last week, what happened was I was attacked that you are talking about Fox News. So I said, what was your problem with Fox News? There is one news channel that supports Republicans or conservatives, but you have ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, MSNBC, CNBC, and NPR. Everybody is left, but you have problem with one Fox. Come on, give a break.
Okay. So, Ameya Dani is asking, so do you think going ahead, Ted Cruz would be a good presidential candidate for Republicans?
Ted Cruz is a very smart guy. I mean, he's a senator from Texas. He's very smart, very savvy, a great attorney, has been a good senator, and he's a good, powerful Republican. So whether he would be he fought the election campaign in 2016, lost to Trump, So, yeah, good luck to him in 2024.
Okay, so last question coming up. Sarvesh Rai, why are most US newspapers openly endorsing Biden?
Because most of the newspapers are left of center and they want Biden to win. But let me put it this way to you. I have watched this endorsement business for a long time. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. So if New York
Exactly.
Times endorses Biden or LA Times, most of the states are liberal states from that point of view. Notice that most of the newspapers are from liberal states. That state is anyway going against him. So the vote, the endorsement of Boston Globe, Washington Post doesn't matter.
Quite right. It is exactly like The Economist not endorsing Narendra Modi in
Notorious, right?
2040.
Economists did not endorse Trump, did not endorse Modi, and both won last time. So,
Both one. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this episode. Wonderful having you,
thank
Vibhuti
you.
ji.
Thank
I
you
think
very
I'll
much.
be bothering you
And,
quite often
yes,
because the elections are coming up. So 18 days, at least 3-4 more sittings are required. And
happy
of
to.
course,
Happy.
on the election day as well.
Yes.
So thank you once again. Thank you for being with Jaipur Dialogues and the viewers. Of course, we request you again to share, subscribe, like, press the bell icon, and let contributions keep flowing. Thank you so much. Thank you, Vibhuti ji, once again. Bye-bye.
Good night to all your viewers, to you, and the best of luck in the future, night. Thank you.
Right.
Press the bell icon